All right. Test.
Test.
Test. 4, 3, 2.
Hey, welcome back to the last and main event segment of Convincing Idiots on the Convincing Idiots podcast. Now, thank you for joining us back. Hope you enjoyed the break. Hope you, like Nick, got your bondage thing in, whatever sort of thing you needed to do in the back booth at a rubber dick store. I hope you got it in. I hope everything went well. So. So we are back, and we are at our main event. We are at our main topic, which is our Mount Rushmore of TV characters.
Yes.
Did they make an impact on you? Who made good or bad? It could have been a bad guy. Could have been a good guy. Could be a side character. You know what I mean? It could be Ralph fucking Wiggum. Who knows? But you know who does know? These two idiots, and we're going to find out right now. Brian, welcome back from the break. I hope you enjoyed your break. I hope you're refreshed. Good.
Yeah, my shoe. I lost the shoe. It stuck to the floor where I was at, but I'll get that later.
That'll do it every time. Watch other buddy booths too. So. Let me tell you, these Mount Rushmores of TV characters, you and I are, old school nerds. We didn't grow up on YouTube and TikTok, and, we didn't have viral things. You had to be sitting down in front of your television on a Wednesday night to watch Mary Tyler Moore. You had to be there on a Saturday night to watch Saturday Night Live, or to me, once a month, Saturday night's main event.
Right.
So, Brian, what characters did it for you? What characters, really hit home, or really, just kind of made an impact on your TV viewership, and, in turn, I don't want to go as far as your life, but maybe as far as your life. Who knows?
Sure. All right, so are we going to do one at a time? Is that what we want to do?
We can do one at a time. We can bounce them back and forth.
Yeah, so reflecting back in that era that you mentioned, so this is, so watching television was certainly more of an event, like you say, with, and those were fond memories for me as a kid. You had to gather around. It was like a movie, right? Yep. The show starts at 8, and by 8 o'clock, you better have your popcorn, your snacks, whatever it was. It was always a big deal in my family. Pop the popcorn. Dad would just butter pop. It was a huge thing. I loved those times with my folks here. And one of the shows.
See, even my parents even actually, they were so considerate. They even stopped beating me with a shoe by 8 o'clock. It was very nice.
That's nice. That's very kind, very generous. You sit down and watch it. So this was a show I know you watched in your household, MASH. So one of my favorite shows as a kid growing up here, to watch that. So I have the great Hawkeye Pierce on my list.
She's on mine.
Played by Alan Alda. It's hard. He was so good in this role. I mean, he was such a great actor. He had just a very good blend of seriousness and ridiculousness, which, you definitely portrayed a guy that was living through hell. He tried to keep his sense of humor. It was very challenging. So he kind of, balanced it with drinking and womanizing and just, having fun and goofing around and all that. So just a very interesting character, tragic in many respects, but also very funny. So Alan Alda, I mean, that is him. That is his role, and that's it. So he definitely is on my personal idiot Mount Rushmore of television characters.
He was like a living breathing, physical cartoon character. Like he was like the embodiment of Bugs Bunny. Like his presentation, the way he spoke, the jokes. To me, there was honestly at that time as a child, there was nobody cooler because I found comedy funny. I didn't see James Dean and go, "Wow, that's a cool guy." No, I saw Alan Alda as portrayal of Dr. Benjamin Franklin Pierce and thought that's the coolest fucking guy in the world.
That's right.
That he can be through all this blood and horror and shit and still make jokes and keep comedy alive and only to keep themselves alive, to keep their sanity. And it's just, I know I get the writing is a huge part of it, but like his portrayal as Hawkeye, that is my childhood.
Yes.
Okay. I know I just piggybacked on you and stole one, but we had the same one. All right. So I wanted to
as well. Very good.
He is. So I wanted to touch on him. Wow. Again, I have a few. So I have 10. I'll be honest with you. So
that's fine.
I might have 2 Mount Rushmore. So this is in no particular order.
Sure.
I'm going to go with, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go with the gentleman who actually made me think of doing this topic. Because lately I've been watching a lot of Andy Griffith's show. So Andy Taylor from the Andy Griffith Show, portrayed by Andy Griffith, is my on my list.
Okay.
Because Andy Griffith, it still holds up. I don't know how long it's been since you've seen it, but the wholesomeness of his character plus the wisdom, like the old kind of country wisdom, like he easily could have taken like the original character he was doing on a different sketch comedy show. He started this Andy Taylor persona, and it was more of a country bumpkin, like kind of a dope, and like the way it presented on the show. I mean, there's just really intelligence and wisdom behind, that Southern accent. What it was like, again, it was so wholesome. The portrayal of who didn't want a father like that? Who didn't want a best friend like that? And let's face it, in that show, he pulled in some tail. He wasn't a bad looking dude. And
no,
Miss Crump, let's do it. Ellie,
sure,
let's do it. And I mean, he wasn't. Barney was the funny one, but Andy sure had his fucking jokes. Like as a kid, I remember Barney being like the funny one, and Andy was a straight one. Watching it now as an adult, no, Andy, it was just a different kind of jokes. So to me, Andy Taylor is my first on my Mount Rushmore.
Very good. Yeah, I used to watch that show growing up with reruns with my mom. That was on like local network, Channel 43 out of Cleveland, Ohio.
Yep.
Used to watch that show all the time with mom. Yeah, I used to. It's easy to get sucked into that world. Show was so pleasant. Like for 30 minutes or an hour, whatever it was, you were living in Mayberry and you fantasize about how nice it would be to live in a town like that with a sheriff like that never had a gun, right?
And let me tell you something, Brian, real quick. Go ahead and catch it now, only because catch it in H or fourth, HD or whatever you have, 4K or whatever, because they cleaned it up and it's crisp.
Okay.
Because yes, I remember watching Channel 43 and it's a little grainy and. Like this, you can see so much detail. They've cleaned it up so nice. It's really a pleasure to watch now. So try to catch it now.
I will. I'll go back and look at it. Okay. One of my favorite characters from the show Parks and Rec. We mentioned his name earlier from an episode of The Last of Us. The great Nick Offerman playing Ron Swanson. So
he's on my list.
Yeah, just
one of the most quotable characters ever.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I caught a TikTok of. I think I shared it with you. But it was a TikTok video. He's getting a physical exam. Just the answers.
Yes.
are just so funny. It's like I
Bring
don't
me
know.
all the
Yeah,
meat.
that's
And
right.
when I say all the meat, I don't want you to think that, oh, I just want to bring him a lot of meat. No, I mean
All the bacon,
all the bacon you
all the
have.
bacon. That's right.
Like the voice. And have you ever seen Nick Offerman stand up? He
I
doesn't
have not.
he doesn't do a stand up per se, but it's a one man
Hmm.
show. You can find it on
Hmm.
Netflix. And he's very similar, other than the giggle that he has, and it's a real fun giggle, like it's a real high pitched giggle in real life. Other than that, he's very close. Like he does woodworking,
Hmm.
like a
Yes.
lot of Ron Swanson's interests he has, but he's not as gruff.
Right.
But yeah, if you get a chance, you should really watch that Nick Offerman special.
He's the type of guy. It's like you fantasize that you could be that manly. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? That's because he's
And he's pulling in
very
Megan Mullally.
right.
I mean,
Right.
hey,
Yes.
good for
Absolutely.
him.
Yeah. So if for some reason you never saw Parks and Rec, you never saw Ron, just look up Ron Swanson clip and just have fun with that. So
Enjoy it.
yeah, absolutely. So Ron Swanson.
Mm-hmm. Okay. See, now we're getting tough here because I gotta beat Ron Swanson here, and I'm gonna try to do that. You know what? Let's do it because it's right here. I'm sporting it today. Believe T-shirt. I'm going to go with Ted Lasso, portrayed by Andy Sudeikis
Mm-hmm.
and
Jason Sudeikis, right?
Jason. Jesus, yeah, Andy Sorkin. I got those the two names mixed up. I want to see Jason Sudeikis as Snoke, actually, and see how that goes. Bring him to me. No, but Jason Sudeikis as Ted Lasso. It is on Apple Plus TV. Again, I've said it earlier in this episode. It is my favorite show on television today. We're going to the last season's season 3. The cast is amazing. You are going to find the breakout star is going to be Brett Goldstein, who is going to be Hercules going forward in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
But Jason Sudeikis as Ted Lasso is heartwarming. He's touching, but then there is like he does this whole wholesome country Midwest thing that he does, portrays. But the character also is flawed. You find out, like he has panic attacks, and some of those scenes of him having a panic attack, for anybody like myself who has panic attacks and real life struggles with that hits home. Like he does it well. Like you watch it and you almost start to like flutter there because like you feel that panic attack. Like you've sat there on the side of that road crying. You know what I mean? Like he's so good at it. So yeah, Ted Lasso. I can't recommend that enough, people. Come on, believe with me.
Very good. Very good. Well, you cited the one off your shirt. I will cite one off of my shirt here. So I'm wearing a retro.
Who you going with?
Yeah, there's a good. Yeah, there's different choices here, but I'm wearing a Seinfeld retro shirt here with the old show logo. And there's definitely good options here. I think I'm going though with George Costanza.
Thank you.
Played by the great Jason Alexander. Just so funny. It's like everybody. I should say everybody. Most people, I should say, have some side of George Costanza within their. You can relate to George Costanza. Probably of all the characters on that show, I would venture to guess most people can relate somewhat to George Costanza, where he has, just the stuff that happens to him in his career, his struggles with dating, his temper, his frustration with people around him, that type of thing.
But you know why? What it really comes down to?
What is it?
Jason Alexander is an actor. Like,
oh my God.
out of all of like Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld was a stand-up comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Kramer was, he did stand up and sketch comedy, and like he was in like UHF, and like he was these really absurd, over the characters. All right, Elaine, yeah, she was but she was also on Saturday Night Live, so she was sketch comedy and trained in that. Jason Alexander was like a fucking actor, like, you know what I mean? Like, so he could take this loser and make him the lovable loser. He tells this story that people would come up to him and say, "Oh my God, my friends tell me that I'm just like George," and he's like, "Whoa, hold on, that's not a good thing. Don't go bragging about that. George is a loser." But like, that's the thing, is like he made him so like down to earth and real, that people, like you said, everybody has a little George in them.
Yeah, some of the best
just
episodes.
Like Nick has a little ball gag in his mouth and a butt plug.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, some of the best episodes ever were where they featured George. I mean, there's so many of them. Festivus, The Opposite. The Opposite might be, it's definitely my top 5 Seinfeld episodes of all time, where George decides that, they tell him that his instincts are completely wrong. He has to do the opposite of what he's thinking.
Yes.
He experiments with that, and everything. He just has everything goes so well for him. Keeps calm, and this.
Right.
God, there's so much, and when he loses his temper, it's just. If you know what I mean, you could go talk about it for hours with
the episode
with
where he stopped having sex. Like where he stopped worrying about sex, and he was able to like teach Danny Tartable how to hit a home run. It's so stupid. Like, God, it was so good
because his brain was not.
He didn't have to think about worry about trying to have sex, so he could think of like he was end up being like a fucking genius.
Right. Yep. Oh my God, so good. Anyway, George Costanza.
All right. So my next one. I'm going to go with, and I'm going to bring our first lady onto the list here.
Okay.
And do you have any females on your list?
I do, for honorable mention.
Okay, and it's probably the same one. The GOAT. If you're talking about females on TV, we're going to go Lucy Ricardo. Played by Lucille Ball.
That's a good one.
The original, the best.
Yeah.
She brought a spotlight on women that you didn't see at that time. She was the pioneer. And we don't even have to. Actually, this doesn't even give us a chance to talk about like her outside contributions of running a goddamn studio.
Right.
As a woman, she is what saved fucking Star Trek. All you nerds out there, she is the grandmother of sci-fi. Look it up.
Yeah.
But as a character, she was the comedic lead. She was silly. She was goofy, but she wasn't the idiot. Yeah, she was goofy, but she wasn't dumb. Lucille Ball, Lucy Ricardo, the character, was a brilliant, comedic, masterfully played character.
Yep.
And definitely worthy of being on this anybody's Mount Rushmore.
Absolutely. Oh, very good. Excellent. Okay, I've got so many to choose from.
Just random.
No, show I grew.
We don't have to stick to 5. Let's just keep going.
No. Okay, I'll do my 5 here. So, my 4th of 5 on my list here. Before getting to the honorable mentions and all that, show I watched, start to finish for many years. One of my favorite characters ever. The great Sam Malone from Cheers, Ted Danson. So
nice.
Just such a, obviously he was a womanizer, but he was a goofy, and it was a character that was interesting, that he had a good evolution, I think, throughout the series as well. When they first started out, he was, really womanizing and all that. Then he kind of met his match with Shelley Long and Kirstie Alley's characters, Diane and I don't know, Kirstie Alley's
Rebecca.
Rebecca, that's right, respectively, who thought he was an idiot and kind of put him in his place several times. He had to learn. And anyway, I love that character. So funny, so.
As a child, I looked at Alan Alda as Hawkeye and thought that is the epitome of cool. Then you grow a little. You get a little older. Then you see Sam Malone with the hair and the womanizing. But you know what? That wasn't what I thought was cool. Yes, it was cool that, he was getting laid all the time. What I found when I saw Sam Malone and thought cool was like the nonchalantness of his jokes. The nonchalantness of he didn't have to look up. Like if you watched it, and I've been actually rewatching it. You don't hate it. He didn't have to. You barely saw his eyes in some of these jokes. Like he was reading or looking down. He was so cool with his deliveries. He was the next evolution of cool for me as a kid.
Yeah, he was a guy that you wanted to hang out with in the bar. Yeah, he was a guy that's like you picture that. In some respects, when you're younger, that was what it would be like to be a cool man.
Yes. Yep.
Until you learned a little bit more. It's like, there's more to being a man than that. He would have been a very lonely man. Then you moved to Ron
Swanson.
He might be the ultimate.
No, that's it.
He might be the ultimate man, is Ron Swanson. Yeah, but so it's just your perceptions of what being an adult changes over time, and Sam Malone was definitely part of that. So, yeah, very, very good. Ted Danson was terrific in that role. Yep.
All right, So we've gone through what we wish we were, what we could be, what we want to be as in all of the characters so far. But
it's interesting, you're right. But when you say it that way.
But with the evolution, we end up what we are. And my next character is what ultimately, gentlemen, we are. My next is voiced by Dan Castanella. He is Homer J. Simpson.
That's right. Yep.
Simpson, Homer Simpson. He's the greatest guy in history. From the town of Springfield, he's about to hit a chestnut tree. Ah! Homer Simpson. One-liners, monologues. There was you get very small glimpses of humanity. But all in all, he was just a big, dumb, fun buffoon.
Right.
Showing us all our foibles of like our inner stupid guy.
Yes. You're right.
So that's what he is.
You're right.
That's why we love him. Homer Simpson is the next on my list.
That's right. And he was mine too, Dean. That was my last guy on my list as well, Homer Simpson. We had a few overlaps, which I expected.
Yeah, we had quite a few. So now we can go into honorable mentions or runoffs or whatever we want to call them.
Yep.
What do you got next?
I have another one. Another one growing up with. Now this is probably the actually you mentioned people that you when you're younger. How the male characters on television were very impressionable, how you thought, Jesus. The first character that I thought as a kid was maybe the coolest television character at the time, certainly, and still one of the coolest to this day, the great Arthur Fonzarelli.
Ah, of course.
Henry Winkler playing the Fonz in Happy Days. Man, just no one was cooler than the Fonz on television for me as a kid growing up in the 70s. It's just such a great character. I loved the show Happy Days, and the Fonz was always the absolute best. And it's kind of funny because Henry Winkler is such a sweet man and
beautifully sweet guy.
But it just not the character at all. But he played that. He just embodied the Fonz so well, so good. So, that character had the tough side, the cool side, but yet he was always super respectful to the Mr. and Mrs. Cunningham and just everything about him was just. I don't know what to say. Just
I don't care how old you are, what year you saw it. Sometime or another, We all walked by that jukebox, not even making a joke. We've all hit it on the fucking side in hopes that it might turn on.
That's right.
Who wouldn't want to click their fingers and have two girls out of just random nowhere jump on your arms?
That's right.
He was the epitome of cool.
That's right. There you go.
With saying that, I'm going to move to my next one because I have a question for TV viewers out there through time.
Mm-hmm.
You have Arthur Fonzarelli. How did Arthur Fonzarelli and my next guy on here, my next character, not ultimately just be riddled with STDs? Jesus. Dan Fielding from Night Court, portrayed by the lovely John Larroquette, who is returning, for the role in the reboot, the sequel. But John Larroquette, even from the 80s to today, and I'm including today's Night Court in this because, like, he does it. You haven't seen it yet, but like he does it so well now. It's like he's not the womanizer. He's like in his 70s. You know what I mean? So like, there's no like. Yeah, I guess in TV there has been 70-year-old horn dogs, but like after the show went off the air, quote unquote, he met his love of his life and actually got married, spent his life with her. She ended up dying, and now he's like the widowed. You know what I mean? So like, he says, yeah, back in the 80s, I did my thing. So like they cover all that, but like the evolution of that, but like even in the 80s, there was nobody funnier. Like the jokes that he had, I mean, they gave him the gold. That's why he won all the Emmys that he did. He was the the keeper of the trophies for that show. Deservedly so. I apologize. But yeah, John Larroquette as Dan Fielding is high on my list, ladies and gentlemen.
Very good. Excellent. Great choice. I have another one from Seinfeld. Kramer. Michael Richards. Just as all the funny moments that George Costanza brought, the show would not be the show without Kramer. Michael Richards was just, okay, he had some problems in his, comedic afterwards, and okay, I get it, but during that show run, he was some of the best physical comedy performances on television.
The pratfalls
are arguably of all time. Just so much. The falls.
And even the one-liners, like he's really good for those too in that show.
Yeah. The facial expressions, the reactions, so much on that show. Just you could name a 1,000 moments of Kramer and Kramerisms. Him going to work. It just what's in the briefcase?
I don't even work here.
Crackers. Just time. It's so many good moments here for him.
So let me
playing Dr. Professor Nas von Nostrum, whatever, with the pipe, trying to be serious.
When he's trying to put the soda or the things that they put in jackets, like trying to take them out. But like the funniest goddamn thing was his reaction when Crazy Joe Davola came up to him and he's like, "Are you afraid of clowns?" Yeah, just like the simple fucking and how he did it is just brilliant,
Yeah, so good. So good. So Kramer, my favorite
for example,
of all time.
There is a restaurant in Canton, Ohio, called Cosmos, and it's not random. It is the emblem is a cartoon version of Kramer. There's pictures of Seinfeld all over the walls. It is called Cosmos. It is in Canton.
Did not know that. I have to check that out.
Okay. I deal with them through work. That's what I'll say.
Okay. We'll have to make a trip.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. There you go. Kramer.
My next one, since we're going favorites, Dr. Sam Beckett from Quantum Leap. I'm adding him because it was my favorite show ever.
Sure.
And Scott Bakula is so good. He's so talented with the singing and the dancing and the acting. Sam Beckett was who you want to time travel. He was the good boy. There was no. It was very rarely he's going to do something selfish. You know what I mean? That's why you have him leaping through time, fixing so many people's lives. It's again, I'm adding because I love him so much, and he was a Boy Scout. You know what I mean? He was a Boy Scout doing the Lord's work. And along with this hologram, Al, it was a great show, and so Sam Beckett is the next on my list.
Of course. There you go. All right, I've got next one here. Jack Donaghy from 30 Rock, played by Alec Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
That's another show. I need to go back. It's like Parks and Rec. I feel like I need to go back and rewatch 30 Rock. There's a lot of characters on this show. You can also add Tracy Morgan to your list. Yep. You know, really.
Jack McBrayer.
What's that?
Jack McBrayer. The page.
Yes,
Kenneth.
So many good characters. Tina Fey was terrific on the show as well. But Alec Baldwin, it was always my favorite.
It'd be harder to name a bad one. Like, think about it. Like, all of them.
Right.
It was just studded with beautifully written characters.
Yeah, really was.
He was the best.
He was the best. He was playing. It was almost like he was playing himself. It was like Alec Baldwin. He was such a good straight. Right. Such a good straight man. And his lines, he just flawless. So serious, and just like he could cut you down. And
Nick can't play a straight man. That's
what's that?
We're hearing. I heard
That's
Nick
right.
Can't play a straight man.
No, he's tried for years.
Yeah.
He's tried for years. So he said something like he was, matter of fact, then he said he was hanging out with his beard tonight or something like that. I wouldn't think he grew a beard, though.
No, there was actually I don't want to get off topic, but like last time I talked to him, and when he told us that he wasn't going to be able to do the show, he was talking about that he likes to something about like riding bicycle seats with like something sticking out top, so when he sits on them, and unfortunately he's not going to be that's going to be a regular bike. It's definitely not going to be an electric bike. If you want an electric bike with no protruding things, you want just a good durable soft seat on a confirmed reliable electric bike, you're going to go to RPM Bike Shop. Jesus, name of glasses. I didn't expect to do two reads here. RPM Bike Shop, Carrollton, Ohio. As, of course, every listener knows, Nick talks about them every week. RPM Bike Shop. You can find them on Facebook under the same name, RPM Bike Shop. Or you can give them a call at 330-808-7792. Go in, test ride it. Trust me. You test ride it, you're test riding at home. Trust me. You're not going to be disappointed. It's going to get you where you need to be reliably and affordably, especially compared to the other bike shops that are doing electric bikes out there. I've been doing the research, and you can't beat it. They not only have the best deals, but the best staff. It's all around the best package. So please go see RPM Bike Shop. Check them out on Facebook. It's free to watch, or it's free to look.
That's right.
Free to watch is something in a back booth from earlier in the episode. But anyways, RPM Bike Shop, ladies and gentlemen, Carrollton, Ohio.
Very good.
Go check them out.
Excellent. What is next on your list, sir?
Next on my list, I got sidetracked, didn't I?
That's right.
Next on my list is, let's go old school. Let's go the original controversial character of Archie Bunker, portrayed by Carol O'Connor in All in the Family. I don't know if there's a lot that needs to be said. Everybody knows who Archie Bunker is. He is the epitome of just grumpy. Like, if there's no Archie Bunky, if there's no Archie Bunker, there is no Red Foreman. There
That's
is no
true.
Ron Swanson. Like,
You're
he
right.
is like the original gruff TV character. All these gruff, funny one-line TV characters. He is. That's where it starts. Do the Venn diagram. He's right there in the center.
Mhm.
Archie Bunker is next one on my list.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. I have my. So I'll mention. I do have a one of my favorite female actresses,
Let's hear it.
even today. Yet
Is it
again,
Jenna? Is it Jenna Ortega?
it is not. Although she was very
Oh,
good on one of the Wednesday series.
she
Very
was.
good. And again, from Seinfeld, one more Seinfeld character, the great Elaine Bennis, Julia Louis Dreyfus. Love Elaine. You needed Elaine in this series. I mean, she was definitely brought out the frustrations of dating and all that. You get a lot of things from a woman's perspective from her on that show for sure. Just so many good moments for Elaine as well. Her temper, humor, laughing, the awkwardness. So many good things about Elaine. I don't know. So
The beautiful thing about it, though,
go
is
ahead,
that
please.
they made her shitty.
Yeah,
Like, they made her just as shitty as her friends.
that's right.
Like, a lot of these shows back, whatever amount of years before this, would have made her the voice of reason, or she would have had her girl problems. No, she had like shit problems for like a shit time with her shitty friends. Like, that's what the show was about, and she was an equal to every one of those guys, and in some ways a little more vindictive and shitty.
Yeah, superficial,
Yeah,
selfish, all that type of stuff. Just dating guys to date, the whole thing. You're right. So, and unashamed
correct.
about the whole thing. But yeah, she was great. Yeah, so many great roles since, but I always liked her as an actress. But there you go. Elaine Bennis, one of my favorite characters of all time.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my next one. I don't talk about it much, but my high school years, I was the biggest fan of NYPD Blue.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy Sipowicz, portrayed by Dennis Franz, was the most underrated, complex TV character there was.
Interesting.
He was the quintessential like anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he started the show as just this. If you just watch the first episode of NYPD Blue, you just think like, oh, I hope this fucking racist cop, gets it in the end. But they treated the character like life. He grew, and he learned, and he changed, and he became a better guy. He was still very flawed, beautifully portrayed by Dennis Franz. He was the first character, like drama character, that like put a tear to my eye watching his performance, like how he did some of these scenes. It would Andy Sipowicz was horrible and disgusting and flawed, but yet beautiful, given how Dennis Franz portrayed him, and the choices he made, but to portray him. He made me love TV dramas. I'd watched some in the past, and like, okay, that's cool. Well, that's a fun episode. That show and that character made me love and respect TV dramas. Hell, even probably movie dramas in that. So, yeah. Andy Sipowicz, portrayed by Dennis Franz in NYPD Blue.
Very good. Good one. Okay, I've got also Bob Newhart. Bob Newhart played. This is more on the Newhart. I think it was just Bob. I think he played sort of his own character in the Newhart. Of course, he had his own show, the Bob Newhart Show, the original one in the 70s. But he had one in the 80s, Newhart, where he was the hotel owner,
right,
with his wife and all that. I watched that show just religiously. That's another one that we watched with my parents. With him and his wife and Larry, Daryl, and Daryl brother, all that stuff, and the characters.
Brother Daryl, his mother, brother Daryl.
Yeah, but he was such and as you know, and I'm sure you're a fan as well. But he's such a good straight. He's funny, but he delivers his lines very straight, which is funnier. So
right. Like he didn't do setups. He did straight man jokes. He didn't do straight man setups.
Yes.
Or straight man reactions. Like he was like the joke teller, and with that character, you couldn't get any better.
Right. So just for him as an actor in television in general, he should be on the list. But I especially enjoyed him. I didn't watch the original as much, but it's still funny. But certainly the Newhart in the 80s, I love that show.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, deservedly so. But my last one I have here on my list is definitively deservedly so. If you've been listening to this podcast and every time we go to say somebody, you keep yelling out this person, know that they were coming and they're here. And I want you to say his name. And his name is Walter White. To me, one of the greatest characters. Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad, as Walter White. No Time. I'm sure they've tried it and attempted, but the way they took a good guy and progressively and understandably, because it wasn't like we're wrestling where somebody comes hit somebody with a chair. You're not bad. Like you watched like the divulsion and the madness. And he portrayed Walter White as so real and pathetic. And not only he went like you're looking at this line here, right? He's good and pathetic. He dips down into bad guy, but like also gets away from pathetic and rises into like kind of a badassery, but like there's still like towards the end of the series, there's still certain scenes where like you saw the old Walter, like the pussy Walter, you know what I mean? Like the he never like that, just like everybody, like no matter how your personality changes through time, you always have that little bit of like old you in there, and you never lost that with Walter. But Walter still became a criminal, still became a bad guy, still became a badass. But there was still it was still that very hint of Walter White, from the beginning, and that's the brilliance of that character. So Walter White, Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad.
Very good, excellent choice. Okay, I'll give you one more here.
Let's hear it.
And this character was one of my most fondest characters as a child growing up here. So I have to put him on my list here. Watch this show all the time as a kid. Loved it. And really, it probably is from a fictional father perspective. Thinking back here, probably my first favorite one. So. And you think back through there, it's like this guy was a strong father, loved his family, had kind of a temper. The great Fred Flintstone. How about that? So
nice.
Played the voice by Alan Reed, the original. So Alan Reed's voice will always be in my brain until I can't remember anything anymore. So just voiced that character so well. Obviously, the Flintstones are based on the Honeymooners, with Jackie Gleason. That's where they got the idea, whatever. But still, just always loved that show. And Fred was always one of my most favorite characters. It was sort of not quite the Homer Simpson level, but certainly an influence on that character, I'm sure, over time, But like I said, at the end of the day, this guy loved his family, working hard. He was not calling off of work, went to work every damn day in the stone quarry, trying to make a nice life for his family. Friends a pain in the ass, whatever. It's just always loved Fred Flintstone. There you go.
Again, he is the archetype, the beginning of all of these other characters. There is no Homer Simpson. There is no Peter Griffin. In fact, there's no Dan from Roseanne. You know what I mean?
Sure,
a lot of these people pull from kind of that simple cartoon archetype, because the beauty of it was that it was one of the first cartoons in prime time. It was one of the first cartoons not centered or focused to children.
That's right.
And you needed a character like that was Jackie Gleason-esque, to cover that bridge from kids cartoons to adult cartoons. And
that's right.
Who better to do it than Fred Flintstone?
That's right. We should also mention Al Bundy. Sorry, Ed O'Neill.
Of course.
Al Bundy.
Yes, there you go.
Al Bundy.
Well, I think he gets his own special wing.
That's right. You could also say, and then the guys from Modern Family as well. Ed O'Neill on that show, and then the other guy, also great characters as well. So many out there. Any last ones you want to mention, sir? There's probably 1,000 more we could go.
There's 1,000 more, but you just gave me an idea. We should do a versus episode. People that's done multiple big characters, like you said, Modern Family, and do a versus argument of who's better and why, and you can go Indiana Jones and Han Solo. You know what I mean? Versus.
I like that. I like
versus episode. All right.
Yeah.
We'll work the details. It's a little fuzzy right now, but I like versus.
That's right. That's good.
Yeah, but that's all. That's like you said. There's 1,000 more that we're missing, and if we did miss any that you hoped was on our list, give us your list. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email us. Convincing Idiots. Why don't you say it, because I don't remember it?
At email.com. I'm kidding. Convincing Idiots at Gmail.
Gmail. That's right.
Gmail.com.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe ask that new Bing chat browser.
Sure. Who's the greatest character? Yeah. Ask them who the greatest character is.
A couple of things. You can ask what the greatest character is. You can also ask what our email address is, perhaps. I'm sure it'll immediately come up with an answer for you within 0.2 millimeter, 0.2 seconds, I'm sure.
Sure.
You know what? By the way, we're talking about the browser real quick here. If you asked one of the best places, before I forget, one of the best places to get a tattoo the entire in the Northeast Ohio area, it probably is going to tell you to look up the Golden Heart Tattoo over in Norton, Ohio. You can find them also on Facebook at Golden Heart Tattoo. They've done work on all of us here. Scott Oswald and his partners. goldenhearttattoos.com website, or give them a call at 234-706-2982. Maybe get yourself a George Costanza tattoo, maybe a Kramer tattoo,
Scott Oswald is an amazing artist, but I do want to give a shout out. Greg Pramick is his partner in crime over there, both co-owners of that beautiful tattoo shop. So Greg and Scott, you can't go wrong, whoever you make that appointment with.
You're correct. I think Greg's done work on, at least Nick, is Greg done work on you as well, sir?
No, Nick is Greg does all Nick's work. Scott does mine.
there you have it. Okay. Yeah, check them out. So, Dean, another great episode, sir.
Oh yeah. It was fun. We do miss Nick. We hope that the welts go away and she unties him and everything's okay. But buddy, we I think we pulled it together for you for this episode.
Absolutely. And we'll give our listeners and viewers a final reminder where we can be found. Look us up.
Do you do voices?
No.
All right.
That's all right.
Will you at least put a butt plug in while you do it? You got to be Nick somehow.
That's right. I have one in now.
Good.
It's keeping me excited and enthusiastic.
That's you get right. Excited you hear?
Yeah. I have enthusiasm flying out of my asshole. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yes. Sorry, my bad.
I'm doing the voice of George Costanza right now. Can you hear it?
Yes, it's very good.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like your original Rich Little. And again, nobody's going to get that fucking reference. Just you and me and a couple older fucks.
If you're 40 plus, if you're over 50, you probably know who Rich Little is. If you're 40, you're pushing it. No, if you're a millennial, no, you have no idea who Rich Little is. No, it's like Chicken Little. No, not Chicken Little. He was an impressionist in the 60s and the 70s. Yeah, quite a pretty funny man, actually.
He was.
Yeah. Anyway, you might be listening to us on podcast, but you can look us up on podcast platforms. If you listen to podcasts, give us a follow, subscribe. Look us up on YouTube at Convincing Idiots.
Rate and review.
Please do. Look us up on the Boss Code Media TV network and our Linktree page, Linktree Convincing Idiots, and our website, convincingidiots.wordpress.com. Check us out. Come back. We appreciate your support. Dean, any final words for our audience?
No, just listeners out there, tell your mom I'm ready to check some oil.
That's right.
You were ready for that one.
That's hard to follow. Also, the note, I am Gen X Brian.
Zenio Dean.
And if we convinced you to check your oil and listen to the Convincing Idiots podcast for all your pop culture and nerdy discussion needs.
Hey there, if you like that video or if you just like to watch us make fools of ourselves, please like and subscribe to this channel. We really appreciate it. We hope to see you back here.